Now that we've talked about solving linear equations, the next step is talking about how can we model word problems with equations that we can then solve. So our first example, a rectangle has a length that is 5 more than its width. If it has a perimeter of 80 centimeters, what are its length and width? So the idea is whatever we don't know, we can label with X, okay? And then whatever we still need to solve for, we can label with some expression involving X. So here we're given a rectangle, and it says its length is 5 more than its width. So we know something about the length, but we know absolutely nothing about the width. Okay, so the width is what I'm going to label with my variable. Now up top I said label it with X. Honestly, it doesn't matter. So in this instance, I'm going to use W because it makes more sense when talking about width, right? And so what do I know now? Well, I know its length is 5 more than that width. So what is 5 more than W? Well, that's just going to be W plus 5. So I can label the sides of my rectangle. And then, of course, that would also be W, and this would also be W plus 5. So now I've labeled everything that I can. So the next thing is it tells me its perimeter is 80. So you do have to remember a little bit of geometry for this. If it has a perimeter of 80 centimeters, perimeter is the entire way around. So what that means is W plus a W plus 5 plus the other W and the other W plus 5. So I'll add up all 4 side lengths, and that's going to give me 80. Okay, that's going to give me the perimeter. All right, so I have everything set up now, have my equation, now I just have to solve it. The first thing I would do to solve one that looks like this is I would combine like terms, okay? I would clean it up. So for example, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 W's. That's going to give me 10. So 4W plus 10 equals 80. And now this should be something you saw just like in your last notes. Subtract off the 10 and divide by 4. 70 divided by 4 is going to give me 17.5. So what is that telling me? Well, that tells me that if the width is 17.5 centimeters, and the length is 5 more than that, then the length is 22.5 centimeters. All right, so again, not too difficult as long as you know how to set it up and then just how to solve the equation. So let's do another one. So here, a rectangle has a length that is 3 times its width. If it has a perimeter of 100 centimeters, what are its length and width? So again, we're talking about a rectangle here. The length is 3 times its width. So again, the thing that I know absolutely nothing about is the width. So I'm going to use that as my variable. All right, so I'm going to call it W. Again, it just makes sense because it's the width. And the length is 3 times that. So to be 3 times the width means the length is going to be 3W. So that means this is going to be W. That's going to be 3W. And now the perimeter, once again, the perimeter is the entire way around. So what it means is I'm going to add all of those up. And that's going to equal 100. All right, so W plus 3W plus W plus 3W, all of those are actually like terms. And you end up with an 8W there. So once I clean up my equation by combining all the like terms, now I'm going to do 100 divided by 8 That's going to give me 12.5 centimeters. So if the width is 12.5 centimeters and the length is 3 times that, the length is going to be 37.5 centimeters. Because it did specifically ask for both, so you do need to make sure that you give me both answers when that's what the question is asking for. Let's dive into the back page. So the sum of 4 consecutive integers is 42. And it wants to know, what are the 4 numbers? So here, consecutive integers. So again, I don't know anything about these numbers, do I? So the first number, I'm just going to call x, okay? I know absolutely nothing about it. But to be a consecutive integer, consecutive means in a row. So to be integers that are in a row, what it's talking about is the next one would be x plus 1. The one after that would be x plus 2. The one after that would be x plus 3. Okay, so I'm creating integers that are all in a row because I'm just adding 1 each time to get the next integer. All right, so now I have my 4 integers. And it's talking about their sum being 42. Sum means adding them all together. All right, so adding them all together. So x plus that x plus 1 plus the x plus 2 plus that x plus 3 is going to be 42. Again, it specifically tells me the sum is 42. And now, just like with the rectangle problem, now I have kind of a big mess on the left-hand side. So what I'm going to do right away is I'm actually going to clean this up. Okay, I'm going to make it look nicer. So x plus x plus x plus x, that's going to give me a 4x. 1 plus 2 plus 3 is going to give me 6. And that's still going to equal the 42. And now from here, now you can actually solve that. So minus a 6 from both sides gives you a 36. Divide by 4 gives you 9. So what it's telling me is my first number is going to be 9. So the first one is 9, then the other consecutive integers are going to be 10, 11, and 12. And our last example of a word problem. An angle is 23 degrees more than its complement. What are the measures of the two angles? All right, so one of the angles we know absolutely nothing about, right? So one of the angles is going to just be x, okay? And then we know something about another angle. So it says another angle is 23 degrees more than its other angle, okay? So we have x, and then we have another angle that is x plus 23. Now the thing we need to remember is, what does it mean to be complementary? Well, complementary angles, they add up to 90 degrees. So what you need to do is remember that complementary angles are going to add up to give you 90. So I have to add the two together. Now I have two like terms I can combine. So 2x plus 23 equals 90. Subtract the 23 from both sides. So 2x equals 67. Then I can divide by 2. So the smaller angle is going to be 33.5 degrees. The other one is 23 degrees more than that. So the other one is going to be 56.5 degrees. So once again, thank you for joining me for this. So once you're done filling in all of these notes, all the little tidbits I've given you, then make sure you go and you do your next worksheet.